Well, greetings, one and all. I am here once more, the drinker, and I'm here to do like a super chat catch up from the other night. What you gonna do, brother? Yeah, sorry it took me a while to get around to this, but it's been a busy weekend. I'm actually just finishing off my script for my next review on Drinker's Extra Shots, which is going to be on Kelly's Heroes, so I can't fucking wait to talk about that movie. I fucking love it. But yeah, hello to everyone who's tuned in tonight, and if you're one of those lovely people that sent me a super chat on Thursday night stream with Doomcock, then I apologise if I didn't get quite around to it at the time. But here I am now to try and catch up on them. So, let me get started. What's the next one? Oh yeah. The last one I did was from Kevin S, where he said, "Y'all are my two favorites. Just saying thank you." The Temple of Doom is off kilter and dark, but that made it what it is. Like pulp horror. Indie is less mature in this, but I like it. But I get y'all points. Yeah, I think it was what I said the other night. Like, there's just something distinctly weird about Temple of Doom. It feels like everything's just slightly off. Indie's a bit weird. I think Steven Spielberg was going through a divorce or something at the time himself. And so he was in not the best of minds, headspaces for making this movie. And as a result, it's just all a bit like off kilter and odd. And just really dark compared to the other indie films. Here's one. Hey Drinker, have you heard about Russell T Davies? Yes, I have. So he's going to be coming back to be the showrunner for Doctor Who. I've got to be honest with you, man. It kind of feels like changing captains on the Titanic after it's hit the iceberg. But who knows? Maybe he can do something with it. Maybe he can rescue it somehow. I mean, if anyone can do it, it's Russell T Davies. He's pretty much the guy who brought the show back from like 20 years of being off the air. So, damn, the guy knows what he's doing at least. I just don't know if he can fix it at this point. It's a pretty like fractured show and a pretty fractured fandom. He's gonna have to do away with like everything that happened in the Timeless Children, because like that just completely undermines the whole chronology of the Doctor as a character. So if he can undo that, then fucking good luck to him, man. Claudio Rogajan said, "Drinker, don't feel bad for the actress in Temple of Doom. She's married to Steven Spielberg to this day." Aye, she did all right there. And to be fair, so did he, because I think he was punching a little bit on that one. She is fucking hot. I can't remember her name for the life of me, but she's got some figure in Temple of Doom, man. Shark Dentures said, "Temple of Doom did have my favourite line in the franchise. Hey, I'm right here." She points to her own boobs as Indy fondles a statue looking for a secret door. Yeah, I did like that whole sequence where like they're both interested in each other, but like they have a falling out and then they have a standoff, and Indy gets attacked by like a masked assassin who tries to kill him, and she's just sitting in her bedroom waiting, just getting more pissed off with him. And then he like stumbles into her room just looking for a way to get underground to this like big temple complex. It's funny, it's good. Again, something you would never get away with now. Chris Friedrichs, cheers Drinker, a huge fan. We'd love to have a conversation with you and potentially do a video with you. Django Unchained, interesting proposition there, sir. I mean, I do try to like do happy hours with sometimes with subscribers and stuff, just people that have managed to get in touch, and like we've chatted about various movies and decided on something. It's something I can only do once in a while because there is kind of a lot of content creators that I want to work with and who somehow want to work with me, but I do try and fit them in occasionally. Donkey, I see what you did there. Hey, you writers, found it after 25 years. Better than India and the Crystal Toilet. See chat for URL at Mad Dog Movies, Blocked and Supers if you like. Okay, I'm not quite sure what that was referring to at the time, but I'm sure it's lovely. Where's that Free Willy review? We deserve critical drink. Whenever I think of Free Willy now, I always think of that little skit from The Simpsons where it's like the director's cut ending when Willy tries to leap over the big barricades at the end of the movie and fucking lands on the kid. And you just hear a voiceover from his parents going, "Oh no, Willy didn't make it, and he crushed our boy." Shit, man, that should have been the real ending to the movie. video for Dune coming up. It will be when I eventually get to see the movie. It doesn't come out here in the UK until the 22nd of October, I think. It's fucking ages yet. And because everyone in Hollywood hates me, I don't get advanced screenings or anything, so I just have to wait, like with the rest of the peasants, to get my chance to see it. So once I've seen it, you will get my review. I'm hoping for the best, but I'm preparing for the worst with this movie. Casey Ozowski, hail to you both. This is great. Two of my favorite YouTubers talking about one of the greatest film heroes ever. Absolutely. I mean, I'm talking about the hero bit, not us being the greatest YouTubers. But yeah, it was an absolute pleasure to talk with Doomcock about these movies. Even the fourth one, as shit as it is, it's still better than most of what we get today. Just love the Indiana Jones films, and man, they just remind me how awesome movies are. Leo film, Salah is a good wingman. Yeah, he absolutely is. I love how he keeps singing bits from HMS Pinafore as well for no reason. He saved Indy from a really bad date. Yeah, it's true. He also saved him from the snakes, I think, and got him back out of the Well of Souls when he would have been trapped in there for the rest of the movie otherwise. So, fucking good guy to have around is Salah. Also watch Beowulf, 1999. It's Starship Troopers 2, but Mortal Kombat. By the way, Ellie's gay. Thank you. I needed that reminder. Timo B, I don't believe in magic. A counter-argument could say, with Temple of Doom being a prequel, and though he has encountered supernatural events, he just said that to comfort Marcus, to keep confidence in handling it. I mean, you could probably interpret it that way. I think it's just retconning done wrong. You know, they didn't take that line into account. I don't know why they felt the need to make Temple of Doom a prequel. You could have just as easily done it as a sequel, and it would have been fine. So yeah, it was a bit of a strange choice because, I like that idea in Raiders of the Lost Ark that Indy is very much not a believer. He just sees this as archaeology and then gradually comes round to it with all the incredible things he witnesses. That was a great story arc for him. And yeah, this kind of undermines it, unfortunately. Stephen Otten, hail Drinker and Doomcock. Indy shot first, as he should. Ian CZ, you boys need to watch 096. Even if you know absolutely nothing about SCP, it's still a stellar short movie, free to watch on YouTube. Please, I need to know your thoughts on it. A bit off topic, sorry. Well, that's okay. It's all right to go off topic. I have not seen that, though, so I don't know. Chris Alvers says, try again. That's a super sticker, so thanks, man. Shark Dentures, Doomcock drinks daily from his Grail replica. Yeah, that's why he's able to carry on his plans for world domination. He never gets older. Warachi. It would have been interesting if that one Tomb Raider was a younger Professor Ravenswood. Yeah, that would have been good, actually. Because Abner Ravenwood, you never really learn anything about him. He's just referenced in Raiders, and it's a shame because he's obviously like a big influence on Indy. You look exactly like I imagined. I don't know if to take that as a compliment or an insult, to be honest, but I'll take it as a compliment. That'll do. Not saying they're officially removing men from X-Men, but I've read multiple articles the past week saying Marvel is strongly considering it. Well, like I said this on Twitter, like if you're going to remove men from X-Men, what the hell are you going to change it to? Just X? Oh no, the X are here. I don't know, man. X-Force? They already did that in Deadpool, so it would just be a piss take at this point. X-People? I don't know, like, that just seems weak. You think there's a chance we'll get some non-woke movies anytime soon? Don't bet on it. Yeah, I imagine they'll start to trickle through, believe it or not. There has been a few. Free Guy was mostly non-woke, so that was fine. I never thought that Suicide Squad was particularly woke. And it's a shame it didn't do better, really, because, man, I enjoyed that film. That's a great example. Ex-girlfriend, ex-team, ex-them, ex-genome, ex-genders, ex-persons. There you go. There's your best one right there. Will I be doing the Emmys? Yeah, they want me to host it, but I keep saying no. Assholes, like. Ex-persons, ex-freaks. Yeah, why not? Ex-mutants. There's a pendulum, and it's starting to swing towards non-woke again. I hope you're right, Michael Thorpe. I really do. I've come to believe that myself, that it's it's a slow process because movies take years to get commissioned, then go through pre-production, scripting, and then actually come out into the cinemas. And so what you're seeing getting released now, particularly because of all the delays from the pandemic and all that stuff, is actually things that were commissioned like 3-4 years ago, before a lot of the movies that were woke started failing. So there's a chance that they'll eventually get the hint. Let me do a few more super chats. Naked Fame, don't know if you said, but what are you drinking? So I was drinking the other night Woodford Reserve. It's a nice bourbon. It goes down smooth. Tonight I'm drinking Birra Moretti. Don't know if you can see it there. And it goes down equally as well. When I'm doing a lot of talking and there's no one else here, like I literally have to do it all myself. I need something to wet my whistle. And I'm a chronic alcoholic, so what the fuck can I say? Mr. Buttcrack Media says, it's the dynamic duo of pop culture, Hail Lord Doomcock and Hail Critical Drinker. Thank you, Buttcrack Media. That's much appreciated, mate. Joy Bryant, burning books because you don't agree with the contents. That's something that will never happen in today's society. Of course not, no. We don't burn them anymore. We just delete them and make them not available online. It's the same thing. And it's a lot easier and more efficient and more environmentally sound because you don't create lots of smoke. CC Thorne says, "Hey guys, love to see you two talking about my favourite movie hero. Raiders is my all-time favourite and I am named after Sir Sean Connery." That's fucking cool. And I'm glad you liked Raiders. Master Clockwork, 11 o'clock. Dad, 11 o'clock. What happens at 11 o'clock? That was a great scene from Last Crusade. And yeah, I think I said this last night or the other night. It still makes me laugh when Connery's blasting away with the tail gun at one of the enemy fighters and he ends up shooting their own tail to pieces. And he just goes, "I'm sorry, son. They got us." Bill Durham, can you do a review of Little Big Man? I could if I've seen it, mate. I haven't seen it yet. Echoes of the Ancients, give me a super sticker of a dog laughing. So thanks, mate. Crude Mutant gave me $5. So thank you, man. What's the next one? Here's one. Mr. Drinker, when will you sell t-shirts with "Go Away Now"? I already do, I'm pretty sure. You can get them on my Teespring store because I've got a variety of drinker merchandise, including pint glasses that people kept asking me about. So you can now get like a pint glass with the drinker logo emblazoned on it, and one of those weird aluminium thermos things that you put your coffee in, or, you know, put booze in and pretend that it's coffee. Like, either way, it's fine. Oh, yes, please do a review of A Few Good Men in today's context. I'll definitely review that movie because I really like it. So yeah, stay tuned for that one. Like I say, my next review on Extra Shots is going to be Kelly's Heroes. Great World War II movie. I love it. Next one here. Crude Mutant. There was a Pepsi ad with the Night back in the day where the guy chose Coke. Of course, he says he chose poorly. I'm glad that they tied that in there. That's brilliant. Big Dave K. Afternoon, folks. Here's $5. Overlord should make you sing a duet with him before the stream is over. I don't think anyone's ears is ready for that kind of nonsense, so I'm glad we never got a chance to do that. But thanks for the donation, mate. I appreciate it. James D. Kirk says, a better Indiana Jones 5 plot. Indy tries to nab Doomcock's helmet, but runs away when DVD catches him in the act and pushes the button, unleashing Harvey Cthulhu. I would say that's probably better than what they're actually going to come up with for sure. So yeah, I'd pay to see it. Raised by Wolves. I think the immortality only worked if they continually drunk from the cup. I don't know. I always got the impression it was limited by the boundaries of the temple they were in. So if you pass the Great Seal, then the immortality no longer applies. That's why the knight could never leave. He was stuck there, basically. And probably his mission was to protect the Grail. So I suppose it works in tandem, really. You know, if you can't leave that place, then you're basically stuck watching out for the Grail and protecting it. So that's how they worked it. Don't cross the seal, yeah. People have pointed out, like, you could do it, like, because they're so fucking slow in getting out of there. If you just grabbed it, right, grabbed the Grail, took a run up at it, and just ran straight past the Great Seal and outside before the place could collapse on you, you'd be grand. And then you've got your Grail, you've got your immortality, I assume. It's all good. But, you know, the movie's set up so that you can't do that. I did love the bit where, you know, Elsa falls into the pit, and she's reaching for the grail, and she's almost got it, and then you can see the total like avarice in her eyes. She's desperate to get it, and then falls in, and then the same almost happens to Indy, and it's his dad that just whispers his name, Indiana, for the first time in the movie, just asking him to let it go. Again, you see his fingers just brush against the grail. He's just like half an inch more, and he would have been able to get it, but. I love that in movies where someone's so agonizingly close to what they're trying to get, but they're just not quite there. Ian Soforth says, of all the titles that have undergone the indiscriminate chewing out of making it relevant for a modern audience, Indiana Jones is my favourite. Glad you boys covered it. Thank you, man. And pleasure to talk about these movies. This is not a franchise that needs to be modernized. It's timeless. The idea of adventure and searching for treasure and things like that is just a universal thing that everyone can just get behind and enjoy. That's what makes these movies so special. So the idea of making it timely and relevant to the modern day, it just makes me feel dirty. John Oakletree, here's some money to my two favorite YouTubers and the only ones that can pronounce my name. Can't wait for your videos on Indy 5. God help us. Yeah, it's going to be legendary when that movie comes out. Can't wait. King Crow, ticks me off that Ford said no one is Indy but me in regards to Pratt. So if Waller takes over as Indy, then fuck. Yeah, exactly. Nobody apart from Harrison Ford can ever play Indiana Jones. And clearly... I'm going to bring this one up here just so I remember it. Clearly she's not slated to become Indiana Jones. She's just there to, I guess, fill his role and start going on adventures of her own. She's a distinct character, but yeah, like we've discussed during the stream, nobody wants to see that, especially not with Phoebe Waller-Bridge. She does not exactly scream action and adventure. Still waiting for the drinker to review 1985's Enemy Mine. Yeah, I'd love to do that because... Dennis Quaid, and I think it's Louis Gossett Jr. under a huge amount of makeup. It's a great little sci-fi movie, and I'm sure it's based on something. It kind of feels like a World War II scenario, like where an American and a Japanese fighter pilot both get shot down and they land on the same island, and have to work together to survive. It's got that real vibe to it, like this is something that's been done before, but like it's done in a nice way in a sci-fi context, and the performances are really good. Will Bale says, hey Drinker, please do a review on Face Off with Cage and Travolta. I've already done it, man, or at least I've done a live stream on it. Me and Nerdrotic did it, and we had a great old laugh talking about Face Off because it's great fun. Yeah, remember when plots used to matter in films? Yeah, that was nice. Remember when characters actually acted like adults? I'm actually going to do another video about that. Like, because my most recent video was like why modern movies suck, and it's like setup and payoff isn't really used anymore. And I think the next time I do something like that, it's going to be like why modern movies suck because they're written by children for children. That'll be the premise of it, where like all the characters just like act like hyperactive kids. And everyone's screaming and yelling, and it's all about emotions and stuff, and nobody can control themselves. So yeah, I think that'll be the premise of it, and I think there's probably a lot to explore there because yeah, I remember when movies used to like have adults acting like adults, and it was great. It made you, it treated you with a little bit of respect as the audience, and that was nice. Have I reviewed Superman, the Richard Donner one from the 70s? No, I haven't. I feel like it would have been an appropriate time to do it because it was Christopher Reeve's 69th birthday, or it would have been today or yesterday. So it's kind of it would have been a nice time to do it. I just haven't had time. But yeah, I'd love to talk about those classic Superman movies. What's this one? Have you seen the Bebop trailer, the Cowboy Bebop one? No, I haven't yet. Apparently people were liking it, which is interesting. I haven't seen it yet, so I'll need to take a look. The problem is I don't know a huge amount about the original anime, so I'm not really in a position to judge its accuracy or anything. When it comes time to actually watch it, I guess I'll just judge it on its own merits and see what it's like from that point of view. Ice Cold and Alex review, yeah. That has got the most satisfying beer drinking scene in all of cinema history in it. Yeah, it's a great old classic war movie. Yeah, I'd love to do that one. I should probably do a few more of these super chats to try and catch up on them. Eugene Bird, Drinker is a fucking genius, but I'm a Doomite now. I do my Doomanite now. Well, good. I mean, Doomcock produces some good stuff, and he's great fun. So, I mean, it was a real pleasure to have him on the other night. Chris Nicholson, with injuries putting pause on production of Indy 5 only 2 days into shooting, it makes me wonder if even God is stepping in to put a stop to this nonsense. Yeah, like Harrison Ford will get struck by lightning or something next. Yeah, it's just like, you shouldn't be doing this, man. You're too old. Don't debase yourself, and don't debase this character in another movie. Gene the Machine, Crystal Skull is a fan fiction, just like the Disney sequel Abomination. Yeah. I would happily go down that road and just say there's only ever been 3 indie movies. That's it. Ollie says, cheers and cheers, boyos. Cheers to you, Ollie. Joe says, do you ever think that the cinema will make a return, or is streaming too far in for a cinema to make a genuine comeback? What do you think on this? I think it'll come back. From what I've heard, like a lot of these big streaming platforms like Disney Plus, Paramount Plus, like they've really plateaued with their subscribers. And I think it's because people can go out again and they want to go out and do things. And yeah, we're all a little bit sick of being locked in our fucking houses and just like streaming stuff all day long, or binge watching box sets of things. And I think there's definitely still something to be said for going to the cinema and like the occasion of it. Actually making it something that you do, and you sit down just to watch this movie, not something you do while playing on your phone or like, occupying yourself with half a dozen other things. It's like you're in the movie theater just to watch the film. And I don't think that will ever die out completely. And yeah, I can see streaming just, maybe like hitting a bit of a roadblock for the time being, particularly because there's so many services as well. Like, again, there's just too many of them for everyone to have. And so I think some of them need to die off before like a few dominant ones emerge. Darna 1804 says, the point of woke remakes is the same as putting Christian holidays over pagan ones. It replaces the originals and removes them from cultural memory. Yep, I don't disagree with that. Yeah, if you basically... Doing a remake is like saying, we can do this again, but do it better. We can improve on what was before. That's the subconscious statement that you make every time you do a remake. And the more of them you do, the more you erase the originals. Like you're saying, it removes them from your cultural memory, so that all people remember is the remakes, is the new versions. And so, yeah, it's a bit of a depressing thing. The good thing now is we've got systems in place like they didn't have thousands of years ago, where we can at least remind ourselves of the originals. Like, they can never be taken away completely. And I guess people like me, Doomcock, and however many other YouTubers out there who review movies, we can at least keep that going a little bit longer. Monkey George says, Indiana Jones and Uncharted are pretty similar, don't you think? There are only 3. Cheers, Grinker, great stream. I didn't mind Uncharted 4. Nadine pissed me off because it was pretty obvious why they put her in it. And I didn't quite like this idea of Nathan Drake, settling down. It just did not seem like the thing he would do at all. But still, like, a lot of the set pieces and stuff were great in it. The acting was great. Yeah, I don't mind Uncharted 4, but yeah, the first 3 were definitely better. Matt G gave me $5. Thanks, mate. Maximilian Limburg says, what's worse, A Night Out in Dundee or the Temple of Doom? I mean, to be honest, you're more likely to get killed in Dundee, so yeah, I'd say that's worse. Claudia Rogajan, Drinker, you're not actually an alcoholic, are you? Because if you are, I'm genuinely worried for your pancreas and liver. Always keep making great content. That's why I'm wearing the sunglasses, so you can't see my yellow, jaundiced eyes. Betty Ford says, loved your Game of Thrones ending. Should check out Grabbers. Irish people have to stay drunk to avoid an alien. Better than it sounds. I mean, to be honest, it sounds amazing, so I'm fine with that. Lee Oxton gave me £1. Thanks, mate. 0 Hour Discussions says, love to recommend a 4-hour Chinese epic, Redcliffe, with the... It's the Romance of Three Kingdoms movie. Also sent an email inquiry in about section also. Right, I'll need to have a look about that then. A 4-hour epic. Fucking hell, man. That's intense. Lee Oxton gave me another £1. Thank you. The Burke says, sorry I came in late. I'll rewatch after. I was worried Victor Vaughn had a falling out with everyone. Not as far as I'm aware, mate. No, he was happy to come on and do this with me, so it was great fun. Right. I've all caught up with the ones from the other night, so we're all good. Yeah, has Mr. Drinker reviewed Get Out? No, I haven't actually. I was thinking of Knives Out there for some reason. But no, I haven't reviewed Get Out. I've reviewed Us, but not that one. As I recall, Get Out was better than Us, but like still loaded with all Jordan Peele's usual racial politics. So yeah, it takes the fun out of it a little bit. Yeah, they did 8 remakes of the first Fast and the Furious. Indeed, yeah. Really, it was remakes of Furious 5 or F5. I can't remember what stupid title they gave it. Because up until that point, they were still kind of about street racing. But I think by the time you got to part 5, that's where they really set the formula in place. And then it was just heist movie after heist movie, pretty much. And then you get more and more ridiculous government agencies and shit in. Drinker, do you consider the 90s the golden age of cinema? Not really. I mean, it depends on the genre you're talking about. Like every genre had its golden age. Obviously, action movies, it was the 80s. If you had genre movies, it would have been the 70s. You know, they all have their time. I think disaster movies were kind of the 2000s. So it depends on which genre you're talking about, I suppose. As a general trend, like cinema in the 90s was a lot less bombastic than the 80s. It was a bit more reflective. You've obviously produced some great movies during that time, but I suppose you can say that about most decades, to be honest. I don't think anyone's going to look on the current age and say that was ever a golden age, to be honest. So, yeah, pretty much everything beyond like 5 years ago was better than what we have now. I'm just looking through the chats here. I remember when you were a wee drinker. Yeah, getting bigger every day. Not in a good way either. Star Trek's golden age was mid-90s to early 2000s. Yeah, I would say it's a tough one because obviously the original crew movies finished up in like 91, which was a real shame because I loved them. Genuinely thought they were awesome all throughout the 80s. And that was when TNG really rose to the fore. It was like the late 80s. That's when they finally got it figured out. And I think that kept going till like 1994. But then once you get into the realm of like the TNG movies, they were kind of weak. And they were just really action oriented. So it is a tough one. I'd say the 80s was the best time for Star Trek. They were on a real roll with the movies, and TNG was just starting to rise to prominence. Drinker, do you think Stallone could have been a serious screenwriter? I think he had real talent. Yeah, I absolutely do. I mean, look at Rocky. He wrote that. Yeah, the difference is, like, I think Stallone obviously got really caught up in the 80s action craze. And so he probably he put aside a lot of the nuances of his writing just to produce, like, big, bombastic action films because they sold and they did immensely well. So can't knock him for that. I think if he'd been more active, you know, in the 60s and early 70s, before all this kicked off, he probably would have been known as a more, I don't know, a more subtle screenwriter, and I think he would have produced really good stuff. But he was a product of his time, and I can't blame the guy for taking advantage of the opportunities that came his way. Yeah, did you know Phoebe Waller-Bridge is a writer for the new Bond film? Yeah, she is. She was brought in to polish up the dialogue and a lot of the character work at Daniel Craig's request because, you know, got to signal those virtues somehow, I suppose. I guess Bond was shaping up to be too fun. So yeah, if it's anything like Fleabag or if it's anything like Killing Eve, then it's going to be insufferable. I absolutely guarantee it. You know, no fan of James Bond goes into a Bond movie to watch Bond get humiliated and belittled and put in his place by other characters, and I think that's exactly what you're going to see here. I'm just seeing what else is here. Yeah, Bond is dead by design then, pretty much. I also don't like this idea, like, he's retired again. Like, honestly, like, Daniel Craig's been playing this, like, old, world-weary, out of action, retired Bond since, like, the second or third movie. I think the second one. Yes, Skyfall. Like, that was the third one. And it's like, yeah, by then he was already portrayed as like being out of shape and he wasn't really cutting it anymore. And it's like 3 movies later now and he's still doing it. Like, come on, man, you can't expect us to buy into this. Dom is the new Bond. He does it for family and uses it to illegally street race. Brilliant. Yeah, I like Star Trek Nemesis, but it was too dark, too brooding, needed some humor, some adventure. I mean, it had adventure, but it was all action-oriented. And again, yeah, it just felt really off-kilter for a Star Trek movie. It was just trying to be an action film in space, using, a bunch of actors who were in their 50s and 60s by that point and were not set up to do action at all. And yeah, it all felt like such a waste. And a shame, really, because that was their final movie. And if you don't count Picard as being canon, which I don't, then, yeah, it was the goodbye to the original crew. What's this? Drinker, I think you missed my super chat from the start of the stream. I was saying that I recently watched X-Men 1 and find it better written than most of the MCU movies. Yeah, I'm not surprised, to be honest, because it comes from that different era of filmmaking, and it wasn't as formulaic. I think the X-Men movies in general, they did suffer from being a little bit unproven and, going through different screenwriters, different directors and stuff. They were very hit and miss. And yeah, then you've got like, they start doing time travel to try and like correct some of the writing problems in other movies. They go back in time, so you've got like the younger versions of them. It was all a total mess by the end. But X-Men 1 and 2, really good movies, like really well written. But yeah, I don't think I missed your super chat because I haven't read any of the super chats just from the start of this stream yet. So give me a second and I'll bring them up, actually. Let's see. James Oldiges says, "How are you so damn attractive, making us jealous?" Well, I mean, I'm hiding most of my face, so you can't really tell. But thank you anyway, I appreciate it. Michael Storm, oh yeah, this is your super chat. Hey Drinker, I watched X-Men 1 and the chess conversation between Eric and Charles is better acted, scored and written than 90% of the MCU. Yeah, absolutely. That's because you've got 2 fantastic actors who play really well off each other. And they've got great chemistry and they know exactly what they're doing. I mean, it's a shame they overused that kind of chess scene between them like multiple times after this. John says, rewatch Game of Thrones season 8 or a month in Glenrothes. Fuck. I mean, I went to Glenrothes for a day and spent a month there because I couldn't get out of the fucking place because everywhere you go, there's roundabouts that just take you nowhere. It's mad. It's a mad town. But yeah, like I could watch Game of Thrones season 8 in a day. Yeah, which would be really painful and awful, but I'd have to be in Glenrothes for a month. I'd take Game of Thrones season 8, I think, and just get it over with quickly. Deadshot 1945 gave me $2 Canadian, so thank you. Couch Potato, will you be doing the Emmys? Nope. Don't give a shit about the Emmys. Wormy Spoons, 2 episodes of Asimov's Foundation so far, so good. Oh, okay. I would be interested to know more about that then. Yeah, I don't know much about it so far, but I'd be willing to give it a go. Like me some sci-fi. James Aldiges says, any opinions on the cartoon The Owl House? First show I've seen that is progressive and inclusive that isn't woke at all. I don't know anything about The Owl House, mate. I've never heard of it, so I could not tell you on that. Have you seen the trailer for Extraction 2? No. as far as I was aware, they just announced that they were working on it and that Hemsworth was coming back. And I was very pleased by that because I really enjoyed the first Extraction. So I can't believe they would have a trailer out already. Surely not. Surely such a thing cannot be done. Next one. SCB Wellbeing. X-Men could be known as XP, as in they look like they've had enough XP for me to level up if I shoot them. I mean, you could try, I suppose, yeah. I don't want to see them reboot the X-Men. Just leave them alone. John Andrews, have you seen Ted Lasso? It's surprisingly good. No, I haven't, I'm afraid, mate. Ted Lasso. No, I haven't seen that one, mate. I'm sorry. Claudio Rogajan, if they ever make that Deus Ex Human Revolution movie, they should get you to play Adam Jensen. You look enough like him. Yeah, I need to hit the gym a little bit, I'm afraid, before I can do that. Kylo Renz gave me $5. Thanks, mate. Milo Sorian, hello there. Ong Bak is the best simple movie ever. God, yeah, that's a good film. I don't know if it's simple, really, but yeah, there's definitely simpler films out there. But yeah, it's just a good, honest film. I do like Ong Bak. Hollow Souls says, would love to see you review some B movies like Shark Exorcist. I can only imagine your reaction. There is a few, believe it or not, there's a few I've got in mind that I'm thinking about doing. Just finding like the cheapest like direct-to-video movies from like the 80s and 90s and stuff, and just talking about them like obscure stuff that no one will have heard of before. What else have we got here? Give me 1 second. Yeah, clearly died. Well, he fell off a bridge, didn't he? And like the start of the movie established that he can stay underwater for long periods of time. So I guess the implication is like, yeah, he was able to swim away despite his extensive injuries. And you do sort of see him at the end at the swimming pool, like in the background. So I guess that was their implication. It is a bit sketchy though. The Outcast Creative, nice shades drinker, clearly ready for Top Gun 2. Yeah, damn right. If it ever fucking comes out, it's been delayed like 3 times now. I just want to see it. We're coming to Dunoon next week. Can you recommend any local haunts or scenic vistas? Christ, I haven't been Dunoon in ages, so I couldn't tell you, man. I'm trying to think of anything that's even near it. Nah, I'm not. My local knowledge of Dunoon is not good, I'm afraid. Claudio Rogajan says, it's like Harrison Ford wants to die, but Hollywood won't let him. He got them to kill Han Solo as well. I think he just wants out at this point. Man, I don't know. Like, he obviously doesn't need the money. You know, why keep doing this stuff if you're that old and you can't be bothered anymore? Just retire. Just retire and live in luxury and have fun, or whatever Harrison Ford does that's equivalent to fun. And just do that. You don't need this anymore. You don't need to try and be indie anymore. Will G's, what if it's set in space? She could hunt for an alien relic or some kind of Nazi shuttlecraft, using Ford only in flashbacks, showing what is in the shuttle, or failing to prevent its launch. Yeah, don't give them ideas, man. I could see this happening. Indiana Jones in space. I mean, they practically did that with the last movie, didn't they? It was like aliens or interdimensional galactic time-traveling fucking made-up aliens. Yeah, it was so out of step with everything else in the indie series, which, like I was talking with Doomcock the other night, you know, it was always meant to be about human religions. You know, you had Judaism, you had Hinduism, then you had Christianity. You could have done Islam. I'm sure there's things you could build that around, or you could have done paganism. You could have had like Norse mythology in there. There's all kinds of things you could do for like another indie movie. Instead, they chose fucking space aliens. Jesus. John Ghost. Hello, Critical. Hello, John Ghost. Enjoyed your review of Free Guy. Planning to see it because of your review. Good. Yeah, you'll have fun with it. I can't believe it's even still out of the cinemas. It's been out forever. I think it's just a sign that there's fuck all else to see. Unless you really want to see Shang-Chi. Why? But yeah, Free Guy you'll have fun with. Big Daddy MRI says, 1 million subscribers by the end of the year. Changed my mind. Cheers. Thank you, my friend. And, well, hopefully. We were going through a bit of a rough patch there for a couple of weeks. And I think I even mentioned it on Twitter. You can tell when YouTube's doing a subscriber purge or some kind of shenanigans behind the scenes, right? Because you post up a video and instantly you lose like 50 or 100 or 200 subscribers. And it happened to me for a couple of weeks. And my subscriber growth was way slower than it usually is. Like normally, I gain about 1,000 a day, which is pretty decent. But it was down to like 300 or 400 a day, like just a third of what it was before, despite me uploading loads of videos. And it was just YouTube fucking around behind the scenes. It's really annoying when they do that. Because you do start to think, oh, am I doing something wrong here? Like, are people not liking what I'm making or what? But yeah, it was just that. But we're out of that now and it's gone back to normal. So all good. Fingers crossed as it will be plain sailing to 1 million. What's the next? Hash Shandycoot, nice name. Watched The Hunt for Red October for the first time today. Oh, for fuck's sake. Like, you're in for a treat then. Old school VHS. I did it on your recommendation and loved it. Well, awesome. Stuff like that just pleases me. When people watch things that they either haven't seen for a long time or have never tried before, and they give it a little go and they really like it because I did a video on it, that is awesome. And I'm glad you enjoyed it, mate. It's a great movie. Night King 01 says Casino Royale was the perfect start and then they squandered it. Looked at Casino Royale on how to write a great Bond film. Yeah, I would agree. Although I didn't love Daniel Craig in it, it was tight, it was well written, it relied on subtle tension instead of gadgets and explosions. Yeah, it was a great Bond film, and I thought, brilliant. They've really retooled Bond into something that works well. After the last Pierce Brosnan movie, it was just goofy as fuck and really campy. They've gone much more serious and gritty with it. And then, yeah, they've never managed to equal it since. Claudio Rogajan, I thought the point of Casino Royale was to show how Bond became himself, cold towards women and an emotionless killer. Now he's trusting women again. Yeah, the characterization, like I say, it just feels like it's stuck in an endless loop with Daniel Craig's Bond. Oh, I'm too old. Oh, now I'm back in the action again. Oh, now I'm too old again. And I'm retired. Now I'm back. Now I'm retired again. Yeah, they haven't figured out a character arc for him. And to be honest, they really didn't need it. Like all of the other Bond movies, there was no real character arc and there wasn't really a connection between movies. Like it was just each one was its own self-contained adventure. And I think that worked okay because Bond himself is a timeless character. You don't need him to change and evolve, really. It's not it's not that kind of series. And especially if they do obviously are going to have to recast now, like Daniel Craig's done with it. What the hell are they going to write now? Where it's like, we've got a whole new Bond. Are we going to start again? Is he going to somehow carry on from this previous Bond and we're just going to pretend that that's still him going through a character arc with all his history that came before it? It feels like they've made a rod for their own back with these movies. And I don't understand why they've done it for the life of me. Yeah, Daniel Craig's more like a secret supply teacher, not a secret agent. Yeah, and he's like a secret supply teacher that kind of felt like he was destined for something more and never achieved it, and now he resents his job and doesn't want to be there. That kind of feels like what Daniel Craig is and what he brings to Bond. If Doctor Who was played by Sean Connery, it would be called Doctor Yes. 50 no's and a yes is still a yes. What's the next one? I'm just going to get myself cancelled here. It's fine. Jonas Larson says, what are the odds on Dune being woke, carrying the message, or actually being a good film? I spoke to Andre from Midnight's Edge. He said it's not woke, and it's not really about the message. It is a decent enough film. There's pacing issues, though, so be warned. But overall, yeah, it's not a woke movie. Big Daddy MRI says, could you touch on the why Hollywood has lost their imagination? Lots of debate on the why I've seen. Used to be so creative and imaginative. Partly it is hiring shit writers based on what they say rather than what they can do. Partly it's because so much money is at stake with these movies now that it's safer to just remake stuff or just go with strict formulas that work and not deviate too much from it. Like Marvel I think, have really established that benchmark of just get a formula that works and just hammer it into the ground and make a shit ton of money in the process. And so every other studio wants to follow that example because everyone else wants to make $1 billion per movie. I mean, what studio wouldn't? So they're going to take the safest and the easiest way to get to that point. So yeah, I think that's really the twin reasons: shit writing from people who don't deserve the jobs that they're in, and pressure to satisfy the shareholders and follow the magic formula. But yeah, it used to be creative and imaginative because there wasn't as much money at stake. A lot of movies used to be a lot cheaper, and so when you've got less money invested, you can take more risks, and when you've got less resources at your disposal, you're kind of obliged to be more you're obliged to be more resourceful and imaginative about how you use it. And I think that's why so many of those older movies work so well. The directors had to rely on creativity to get them across the line. Marek Dudek says, greetings from Poland. Read the Witcher books. They're great. The TV show has very little in common with them. Yeah, now it's been... God damn, The Witcher's been put through so many filters now. Like, it was books, then it got turned into the video games, and now it's been turned into a TV show. And so, yeah, there's lots of different variations on it. And yeah, I really should read the books because I do like a bit of fantasy, and it's been ages since I've read something really good. So maybe it's time to give them a go. I've heard that they're quite slow going though. Like they're big and there's a lot to them, and there's a huge amount of depth to the storytelling. But yeah, I definitely had my issues with the TV show. I hope season 2 improves it. Jonathan Mo Ryan, good man, drinker, live streaming like a beast this weekend. Thank you. My thoughts and prayers are with your liver. Well, it's going to need them, trust me. It's beyond salvation. Octavian Bison says, drinker, do you like Nordic cinema? Any suggestions? I enjoyed The Hunt, King of Bastoy, and planning on Den Skylage. I don't know much about Nordic cinema, I'm afraid. I'm not an expert on it, so I couldn't advise you. Yeah, like I know things like Scandinavian crime are huge at the moment, either as books or as TV series and that sort of thing. Personally, I've always found them really slow going. Yeah, and so it's not always to my taste, I suppose. The aesthetics and stuff of Nordic cinema, it's not quite what I look for, but I mean, each to their own, I suppose. Drinker, where's the deep fried pizza? I haven't got any today. It's surprisingly good, actually. Deep fried pizza in batter. Get it done in batter, and a good bit of like brown sauce on it, and you are laughing. That will cure any hangover, fucking guaranteed. What else? Give me 1 second here. David Davis, Harrison Ford free time equals land aircraft on golf courses. Movies are safer. He's had a few mishaps with his planes, so he has. I just think it's cool as fuck that he's got a private pilot's license. I mean, that's pretty awesome. But yeah, I'm not sure I trust an 80-year-old man to fly me around in a Cessna. Colin C, you rock, man. Keep up the good work. Crystal Skull felt like a TV movie of the week. Yeah, just with a bigger budget, pretty much. Yeah, what a wasted opportunity. Mary Nicholson, hail drinker, you savvy connoisseur of entertainment. Have you ever seen the movie Boondock Saints? I'd be curious to see you review it. Yes, that is one of those films that I've never seen. I keep hearing about it over and over. I've never gotten around to watching it. But I am intrigued because it's one of those things, I don't even know the plot for it. I've intentionally stayed away from any spoilers or anything because I know I'm going to watch it someday. And I kind of want to just go into it blind. So yeah, one day I'll get to it. Claudio Rogajan, I agree with you, drinker. Bond had the most character out of any of the Bonds in Royale, but that was enough. But then they messed up after that. Poor James. Indeed they did. And Rain Knudsen gave me 70 Danish krona, I think that is. DKRR. Yeah. Night King 01 said, are you a fan of The Sopranos? If so, are you excited for the Many Saints of Newark next week? If you haven't seen The Sopranos, it's the gold standard. Yeah, so generally I'm not too fussed for like mob type movies and gangster stuff. Like that's why, you know, I'm not a massive into like the Godfather trilogy or Goodfellas or anything like that. Totally recognize that they're amazing movies. It's just not quite floating my boat. So yeah, for that reason, like I never quite got into The Sopranos either. But I again just heard that it's meant to be amazing in terms of like character development and like the overarching stories and stuff that they go through. But yeah, I wouldn't. As a result, seeing the trailers for this like prequel series about Tony didn't do much for me because I wasn't invested in that character. Hollow Soul says, if you like anime and haven't seen it already, check out Death Note. Okay. I don't know much about it, but yeah, I've always said like I want to kind of get more into anime because it feels like that's where you have to go now for decent storytelling. You're not going to get it out of Hollywood. Yeah, The Sopranos is fantastic. You need to watch it even if you don't like crime drama. It's that good. I mean, to be fair, things like Breaking Bad are kind of just crime dramas as well, like mixed in with like heavy character development. And so I was fine with that. I really enjoyed Breaking Bad. So maybe it's on the same sort of path as that, in which case, yeah. Scarface, yeah, I've seen that. I mean, obviously. Fucking greatest shootout of all time and the greatest character death of all time. Like, Tony just doesn't give a fuck. Yeah, I love it. Yeah, Scarface is a good one, to be fair. Yes, Runaway Train. Watched it as a kid, still as good now. Yeah, it really is. That's John Voight and who's the other guy that's in it? Eric Roberts. Yeah, great movie. Really well directed. Some great monologues from John Voight as well. Not a guy I normally associate with that kind of character, but yeah, when he just rants at Eric Roberts about life outside prison, how he could never adapt to it and stuff, and that's why he's doing this. Brilliant monologue. Really like that movie. Would definitely be a good one to review sometime, actually. Matrace says, thoughts on RTD returning to Doctor Who got me the most obvious damage control from the BBC. I actually feel a tiny bit of hope now. Yeah, I talked about this earlier. I mean, Russell Davies brought Doctor Who back from death, basically. It was gone for like 20 years from TV, and he managed to resurrect it with Eccleston, and then he oversaw David Tennant, which I think is the best era of Doctor Who in the modern age by far. And yeah, did all that. If anyone can fix it, I suppose he can. I just hope that he's not brought in as like a figurehead, but it's going to be the same old crap, and it's just there to try and appease fans. Yeah, I just hope that he can do something with it. Yeah, I think his first order of business will be to undo the Timeless Children, because that's done so much damage to the Doctor Who fandom and just everything about it, really. So yeah, fingers crossed. I'm trying to just get these super chats as they come on live. Oh, yeah, here's the next one. So, Sonny Crockett, we have a spot on the Vice for you anytime. Any chance you would review the MV movie with Robert Meyer Burnett? Show is way better though, but I still enjoyed the movie. So, what's the MV movie? What's MV? Someone help me out here. It's totally going off my head, but. Yeah, I would happily do it with Robert anytime, because the guy's just an absolute pleasure to talk to. So let me try and find out what that is. Did you like V for Vendetta? Yes, I really did, and I'm going to be reviewing that too, because I got a lot to say about that movie. Yeah, really good. It's probably the last great movie that the Wachowskis made, actually. Michael Storm, do you have any favorite games based on comics? I don't think so, to be honest. Like, I never really got into any of the Spider-Man games or anything like that. So, yeah, I don't think I really go down that road with my games. Yeah, right. I was saying the other day, like at the moment, I'm playing the Final Fantasy VII remake, which I'd avoided for months. Like, I bought it, sat in a drawer untouched for months because I was afraid to play it, because I was worried that they totally fucked it up and it was gonna not do justice to the game, but they kind of nailed it. So I am actually looking forward to reviewing that. Safan099 says, hi Drinker, I'm a big fan. I got your first book, but I'm only 13 years old, so I read as slow as piss. Keep up the good work. Yeah, thanks, mate. I appreciate you buying it, and yeah, I hope you enjoy it, man. I imagine at 13 it's going to be a bit of a slow one. What's the next one? I'm trying not to skip any of these super chats. Yeah, the greatest shootout, hands down, is the end of the Wild Bunch. I mean, I would put Scarface up there, man, just for the sheer like. I would, if I was going to go out, I would get coked up to the max and just go out there with a grenade launcher and just scream abuse at people while gunning them down. But yeah, the Wild Bunch is. I'm sure that's got a Gatling gun in the ending fight. So many squibs were used and so much fake blood was used. It was ridiculous. Uh, Next one. Fuck yes, Death Note season 1. Oh, okay. Um, yeah, I haven't seen that, I'm afraid, mate. Oh, that's interesting. The Sopranos is bad due to a writer's strike halfway through series run, and it never really recovered. So many shows suffered from that writer's strike. I'm sure Heroes basically like never recovered from it either. Like it was shit after that, and then it just got cancelled. Um, George, do you have a favorite movie scene? Hard to beat the death of John Rooney in Road to Perdition. God damn! I mean, there's so many. In terms of movie scenes, there's a million. To try and pick one out of all of them, Christ. No, this would be the kind of thing where I would have to name like a dozen of them. But it's one of those things where, particularly when I'm doing like these happy hour streams, I'll get to a certain point in the movie and almost remember like bits that I'd forgotten about, like and think like, Christ, I remember that being just an awesome scene and like how it moved me. I referenced this before. One of my favorite bits was in Falling Down, right at the end where Michael Douglas's character has been cornered on a pier by Robert Duvall, and he's got the drop on him, and he's telling him that everything that he's done today, like he's caused so much havoc, he's hurt so many people, and he can't be allowed to get away with it. And Michael Douglas just says, "I'm the bad guy," and he's like, "Yeah." It's like, and then he just looks completely stunned, and he just asks, like, "How did that happen? I did everything that they told me to." And it's such a tragic line from the character because he has lived his life like that, just following the rules, paying his taxes, doing everything that he was told. And he's still gotten screwed over. He's still come out as a loser. And I just thought that was such a tragic end for his character. That would definitely be one of them for me. It's jumped. It's jumped. It always does this because I'm trying to watch the super chats as they come in live, and so I just try and nab them as they go. I think this is the next one. Sopranos and The Wire, two best TV shows ever. Great, believable, character-driven series. I mean, hearing nothing but good things about The Sopranos, at least up until the writer's strike, so hopefully it's worth it. LJ says, "Hi, Drinker. I wanted to ask what are your personal favourite World War II films and what are your thoughts on the 2014 film Fury?" Okay, cool. There's a bunch of classic ones that I'm reviewing at the moment. Like I say, I'm doing Kelly's Heroes. I love A Bridge Too Far just for the epic, scale of it. It really gives you a sense of what was going on at the Battle of Arnhem. I loved The Bridge at Remagen. I thought that's a great fucking movie. It's all about bridges for some reason. But yeah, like a squad of like US paratroopers or infantry are there to try and capture the last remaining bridge over the River Rhine before the Germans can blow it up. And like as the battle wears on, like both sides are getting increasingly desperate and depleted. It's just a great kind of metaphor for the war at that point, where everyone was just strung out and completely like exhausted by it. I also like The Big Red One with Lee Marvin and Mark Hamill, a great story, and it's basically it's almost like an autobiography from the director, like his real experiences during the war. And yeah, just another great film with a great cast. Like it takes them all the way through Italy and Sicily, through the D-Day landings, all the way up until like liberating concentration camps in Germany. So damn, it's a hell of a movie. Like, so those would be some of my favorites for sure. I still have an unplayed copy of Final Fantasy VII and Final Fantasy 15. It's such a shame because see the latest Final Fantasies, I couldn't tell you a thing about them. They all seem so fucking like identical and generic. But yeah, like my copy of Final Fantasy VII back in the PS1 days, that got played to shit. Must have put 100 hours into that game easily. Have I watched Catch 22? Yes, I have. Another good World War II movie. Yeah, like obviously based on the book, but like a really interesting sort of narrative for the kind of insanity of World War II. Yeah, I remember it being quite weird as well. It goes into like dreamlike sequences and stuff. So yeah. Hi Drinker, sound effects is a big part of movies, and my all-time is the bank rob scene from Heat. A silent pace, very good too for obvious reasons. Any suggestions on that matter? Yeah, knowing when and where to use soundtracks and stuff is a key part of movie making. You can build the tension so brilliantly just with silence. Yeah, I would very much agree. A soundtrack, I think, can make or break a movie just by setting that emotional tone. And yeah, I remember as well, like the gunshots in Heat. Like they really boom and echo like you would get in a sort of urban environment. I just remember it feeling and sounding really realistic. So yeah, I 100% agree on that one. Just let me scroll down here to the next one. Darth Goldust, give me $5. Thank you, my friend. Show us the casting couch that you're hiding from the camera. Hold on. Right there. Oh shit! My camera's gone drunk. Shit! I'll try and get it oriented. Oh shit! You're getting the drunken experience of being me now. There you go. Can you see me? That's where Tatiana spent many a day. Sunglasses inside, of course. Where else would I wear them? What's the next super chat here? The Departed was amazing. Did you ever see the original? No, I saw the remake, but I never saw the original version. I'm afraid. Oh yeah, here we go. So OGXXR6 says best shootout is the bank heist in Heat. It is fantastic. Yeah, I remember reading it was like a autobiography of like an SAS guy who'd served as a technical advisor on that movie. And apparently they were watching the finished cut of it, and there's a scene where Val Kilmer just does like the most perfect magazine change ever. It's just like lightning fast, like eject it straight, new one in, cock the gun, ready to go, like in a second or less. And apparently they all like clapped because they were just so impressed with how well he'd done it. So yeah, I love that degree of accuracy they got with that. Platoon, when Defoe is running back, getting shot, iconic. Yeah, it's just. That scene with his arms outstretched, incredible. I love the big battle scene at the end, right? Where Charlie Sheen's character is running through the woods. Like it's basically the Viet Cong have broken through their lines on all sides. There's no front line anymore. They're all fighting in the dark. It's complete and total chaos. And Barnes, the antagonist of the movie, is just in the woods, like pummeling people with a fucking shovel because he's run out of ammunition and he's just like pure manic. And he ends up like knocking Charlie Sheen to the ground, and he's got this shovel raised above him. He's just about to kill him, and the camera just zooms right in on his eyes, and there's like flames behind him, and you just see absolute fucking madness in his eyes, just pure murder. I love that scene. It's just like perfect kind of metaphor for Vietnam, I suppose. Just an incredible movie. Mojo Jojo says, seen a movie Papillon last night. Decent movie. Yeah, that's the Steve McQueen one. It is. It's got Steve and Dustin Hoffman in it. And yeah, it's a good movie about, a guy who's imprisoned, ends up escaping multiple times, I think, because he keeps getting recaptured. But yeah, it's a good film. Always nice to see Steve McQueen on screen. John says, have you seen Ghost in the Darkness? Late 1990s, about two man-eating lions. It's got Val Kilmer and Michael Douglas. Yeah, I have seen it and I really enjoyed it. Yeah, they're hunters that are brought in to try and kill these lions. One of them doesn't make it. I'm not going to say which, but yeah, it's a good movie, actually. I liked it. And I think I was planning to do a review on it at some point, so hopefully. Yeah, there we go. The dog in Independence Day jumps with the explosion behind him. Yeah, Christ. Boomer will live. Claudio Rogajan, can we just get Martin Campbell to save Bond again? Anyone, just please get someone who remembers like good old Bond when it was actually still fun. What's the next one? I might have to go into like the list rather than doing it. Yeah. Because they've moved too much for me to now see the super chat. So sorry, I can't bring them up on screen. They've outpaced me, and I can't scroll back far enough. Yeah, Deadshot 1945. Did you see UFC 266? And if so, what are your thoughts? No, I've missed that one. I'm afraid. Yeah, I'm sure Gina Carano was talking about it because there was a big matchup in it, but I haven't seen it yet. I'm afraid, so I couldn't tell you. Night King 01, Sopranos stayed consistent and it got better with each season. Also, it ended right before the writer's strike. Oh, that's interesting. Conflicting information here. Hollow Souls says, if you were to rank the Star Trek TV shows from best to worst, so TNG would probably be my best. DS9 would be next. Then probably the original series, then Voyager, then Enterprise, then probably Picard, and then Discovery at the bottom. I mean, really, like, choosing between Picard and Discovery, it's like choosing between syphilis and gonorrhea. Like, you're in for an unpleasant time no matter what you choose. But yeah, I guess that would be my order. I think TNG was probably the benchmark for me. Hollow Soul says, LJ says, have you heard of the psychological World War I horror film called Death Watch? Yes, I have, actually. I watched it. Andy Serkis is in that one. It is a proper horror movie with, like, ghosts and shit. I remember there's a great scene where, like, the barbed wire comes to life and, like, wraps itself around a character and kind of rips him apart. It's a really horrific death, but yeah, I think World War I is a kind of a good setting for horror movies because it's horrific anyway. Like the dead bodies, the mud, the rusty barbed wire, like the mist and the poison gas and everything. All of that stuff just makes for a great setting for some kind of like horror, gory thing. So yeah, that was a good film, actually. I quite liked it. Brendan Sheehy says, Drinker, your thoughts on The Long Kiss Goodnight? That's how you do a female-led action movie that appeals to all viewers. Woke Age has produced nothing. Yeah, I mean, Gina Davis and Samuel L. Jackson were great in that movie. The villain was pretty fucking weak, but she played a great character. Again, like they say, like you said there, it's a way of producing like a strong, interesting female character. I think she's lost her memories, so she's like a housewife when we first meet her, and it's not until they jog her memory and like she's tortured and stuff that it somehow triggers who she was before. Like she'd been suffering from amnesia. And then she just becomes this badass assassin. But, you know, Gina Davis really trained hard for the role and she actually became good at all this stuff. So, yeah, I liked it. I think they did a good job with it. Like I say, could have benefited from a better antagonist because he was a bit fucking flat. But I loved their interplay with Samuel L. Jackson. It was great. Just seeing if I've missed anything here. Yeah, Fifth Element had a good soundtrack. Just a great movie. Some good shooting too. The soundtrack for Fifth Element was really quirky and different, which is kind of like the whole movie, really. I mean, it was a French movie, ultimately. It wasn't a Hollywood production. And so everything's just a bit different and a bit quirky and a bit odd. And, you know, I love the big lavish outfits and the scenery just looks so, like, unusual. It's not like dark and bleak and depressing. It's really colorful. Yeah, it's a cool movie, all told. I gave it a good review, actually, because I liked it so much. Why don't you like the villain in Iron Man 1? I don't think I've even talked about him, really, but if I was to sum him up, I'd say he's pretty, like, unmemorable. I always got the impression with the Iron Man movies that they were saving the good villains for the Avengers films, and so they were just giving you B-tier bad guys. Whiplash was really shit. The Killian, I think, from the third movie, he was boring as fuck. And Obadiah Stane, although he's played by a great actor, I just didn't feel that interesting. And his whole gimmick was just like, he's just a bigger, bulkier Iron Man. Really, it wasn't all that interesting. Right. I think I made it to the end. Oh no, here's one. Let me just see if I've missed any, because I think I think I've completed all the super chats. Oh yeah, here we go. So, Robert Burns, love your work. Are you able to critique a rough story idea I have through email? If so, how do you charge for that? Thank you. I mean, like I do try and do this on occasion. Like I'll do script reviews for people and stuff. Like, unfortunately, I do kind of have to charge for it because it takes me several days at least to like read over it and put all my notes together and stuff and present it back. And that is obviously time that I'm not able to make videos or anything. It kind of depends like what you're looking for and how big this thing is. I guess email me and then we can talk about it. Philip Smith says, thoughts on Dog Soldiers and Troll Hunter. Dog Soldiers is fantastic. I've done a review of it actually. I liked it so much, and I think a guy came on and we did a live stream, like a happy hour, talking about it. So you can get all of that on my second channel. And yeah, Dog Soldiers is a great, well-written horror movie. I liked it, and it's quite funny at times as well. I haven't seen Troll Hunter though, so I don't know. LJ says, what's the most disturbing what the fuck film you've seen? Good question. See, I've seen lots of horror films, but none of them. Like I remember in Midsummer, there was a bit where a character gets abducted, and then you find him later on, and like he's basically had his back cut open, and his lungs have been pulled out through the like breaks in his rib cage at the back, and they've become like wings that you can see inflating. And I was just watching that, thinking, "What the fuck have they done here? Why is this in the movie?" But yeah, in terms of like disturbing, what was the one? Yeah, there was a Kevin Smith film that he made called Tusk, where he basically abducts a guy and like mutilates him and slowly turns him into a fucking sea lion or something. Like he takes off his legs and stuff and like sews him into this big flesh suit, and it's just really weird. Like it's kind of almost like a black comedy horror. Like I don't even know how to describe it, but that was just weird as fuck. But yeah, those would probably be up there, I suppose. I think that was it. Yeah, Don Key says, woke is another word for the pendulum swinging to its nadir. The 70s saw a resurgence of excellent cinema, and the next few years could see a return to that along with the new tech. Surely. I mean, I'd hope. We talk about the pendulum sometimes, and you know, sometimes it feels like there's little signs that it's swinging, you know, and they're starting to recognize that what they're doing is just losing money and pissing people off. I just hope it keeps going for quite a long ways yet, because man, there's a lot of damage to undo. It's just a shame that we've lost so many franchises along the way that I think can never quite recover after what they've done. Derek Davis, you the man, keep doing what you're doing. Thank you, mate, and thank you for that super chat. Michael Cole says, what do you think of Empire of the Sun? It's a good movie, actually. It's a bit slow in places, but man, Christian Bale delivers a great performance. It's like an extremely young Christian Bale. Yeah, I think it's an interesting insight into kind of an aspect of World War II that you don't think about or you don't know about too much. You know, those people, those civilians who got taken prisoner by the Japanese, and how they survived and how they were treated. Yeah, it's an interesting kind of movie. Mike Bruno says, can you watch and review Network? Oh, that's an old one. Yeah, is that the one with like the guy going, I'm mad as hell and I'm not about to take this anymore? And if so, that's so appropriate for the modern day, honestly. Oh, the Serbian film. Yeah, there's no fucking way I'm watching that. That just seems awful. Yeah, that's meant to be truly gruesome and disgusting. So yeah, I'm not into that one, I'm afraid. What I was thinking about as well, the Hostel movies, now that I think about it, the bit with the girl getting blowtorched so her eyes like hanging out, and then the hero, if we can call him that, like he kind of snips the eyeball off to get it out, like, ah, that's pretty gruesome as well. Eraserhead, yeah, that's a good one. Well, good in the sense that it's pretty fucked up. Yeah, that's David Lynch being David Lynch. Yeah, the sort of mutant baby and stuff. Like, I don't mind movies that are really symbolic and like, you know, they're quite experimental and stuff, and they're a bit different. Like, I quite enjoyed The Lighthouse. I thought it was an interesting movie. Eraserhead kind of pushes those boundaries though to the point where it's like almost incomprehensible. Yeah, it's not the kind of movie I would make a point of. I would make a point of watching again. That's for sure. Greetings from Edinburgh, my fellow Scot. Thank you. I hope things are good in Edinburgh, mate. You posh folk over there with your Edinburgh houses. Yeah, it is terribly bad. Tusk. It's one of those ones where I was just watching it because I was like fascinated by how weird and shit it was. Yeah, the Outcast creative. The best Bond action scene is still the submarine crew breakout on the Liparus for me. Beats any of Craig's scenes hands down. Don't forget me, ABTF. Yeah, so that one from The Spy Who Loved Me. Yeah, great scene. Apparently the soundstage was so huge that they had to build a whole new one. It's Pinewood Studios to incorporate it. But yeah, it's great. Properly epic. Cannibal Holocaust. Oh yeah, there's got mutilations galore in that one. Yeah, people keep going on as well about Bone Tomahawk, which I haven't got around to seeing the whole movie. I've seen the bits that they've referenced though, and fuck me, they're pretty extreme. Yeah, Fred Sacco says, "Great shirt, Drinker Mania, brother." Yeah, I was just at the wrestling actually over in Glasgow. A few nights ago, they had WWE Live over there, and I was kind of intrigued to go and see it because I'd never seen a live event before. And it's the first one I've been to, like, you know, it's the first live thing that I've gone and seen since the lockdown stopped over here. So it was really cool. It was a good atmosphere and everything. And it was just a house show, so it wasn't televised. But they put on a pretty decent show, so I like that. And I had to wear this in honor. MC says, "I appreciate your work. Have a beer on me." Thanks, man. I appreciate it. And yeah, thank you for the donation, mate. Requiem for a Dream is a feel-bad movie. Yeah. Nothing good comes out of that film. Everyone just gets fucked over, and just, yeah, it ends with every character kind of curling up, doesn't it? One guy's had his arm fucking amputated and stuff. Yeah, you don't come out of Requiem for a Dream feeling good about yourself. Yeah, should have gone with the Attitude Era. The shows were great. Yeah, they were indeed. The Attitude Era was the best. I would love to have seen Stone Cold live. Thompson says, "Drinker, have you seen Netflix's Castlevania?" I haven't, I'm afraid, mate. I have heard good things about it, though. I'm sure I was talking with Az the other day, not when we were on stream, but just generally, because he's seen it and he really liked it. Yeah, Drew McIntyre was there, actually. Yeah, he was the main event there. And he won, naturally, and he gave a really nice speech about how nice it was to be back in Glasgow and how nice it was to be doing live shows again. I always felt bad for him because he won his first title at WrestleMania in an empty building. It was like there was no atmosphere or anything because everything was locked down. And I just thought, how shit, you've won the biggest title of your life. It should be so exciting, and yet you've got no crowd to play off. It's just you. You know, that's such a shit way to win. Claudio Rogajan says, "Parkour scene in Royale is the top 3 Bond action scenes." Yeah, that was great at the start. Yeah, brilliant action. You know, really kind of established Craig's Bond as a man of action who could really handle himself. Yeah. Do you think Harrison Ford was ultimately a replicant in Blade Runner? That's from Hollow Souls. I made a video specifically about this kind of thing where ambiguity is important in storytelling, and so I don't think you're ever meant to know definitively. I think that's the whole point of it. If you ask me to just make my own ruling on it, I think he probably was. But I think in the context of the story, you're not meant to know. You're meant to consider it. You're meant to debate it with other people. It's a point of interest, and I think that's a great way to leave it. I don't need an answer for that sort of thing. It's enough to just ask the question. But yeah, I think it would add an extra layer to it to think that he was basically a replicant hunting his own kind this whole time. It would be pretty fucking tragic, really. But generally love that film, so yeah, I'm happy with it. Deckard wasn't a replicant. I'd like to see your evidence, sir. Yeah. The top at the end of Inception. Again, yep, you don't quite know. Yeah, exactly. It's meant to be left open. It's an open question. Yeah, anyway, guys, like I've gotten to the end of this. I know we went on for a while with all these different super chats, so I won't take up any more of your time, and I actually want to get back to editing my review of Kelly's Heroes, so I'm going to crack on with that. But yeah, for all you guys that have tuned in tonight, thanks for joining me for this. I know it's just a super chat catch up, but it's always good to have a good audience for this. Hopefully, I've answered all your questions for now. And yeah, thank you for all the super chats that you've sent me tonight. I really appreciate it, and it's terribly generous of all of you. It just warms my heart. Just for you to know, I'm not going to be doing an open bar stream this week because I need to go down to London to meet with my agent, my publisher, and stuff to pretend like I'm a big deal with my publishing, my book stuff. So it will skip this week. I might do a little bit of gaming though, where I'm playing Final Fantasy VII before I head down there. But I will try and get as many videos out as I can before I go. But otherwise, that is all I've got for tonight. So I'm going to go away now.